welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week is a very special week because while we don't have a whole lot of Sea of Thieves news to really get into, I have two of the best streamers in Sea of Thieves on this week to talk about a lot about their experience with Twitch, a lot about gaming in general, and we get some really awesome ideas about Sea of Thieves at the end there. So let's get into it. But before we get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons who are supporting the podcast. Head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast if you want to help support me and the content that I make. It means the world to me. So thank you to Chateau Neuf, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Trickster, Jabaro5, Kazia the Rogue, Lumpy SRQ, Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, Xbox Mike 29, Registella, TN Professor, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Super Pack, Fergatron, Skinny Matt, Straw Hat Connor, Windsor Chris, and Zam. Wow, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I really do mean it when I say that. And for those of you who are subbed but didn't hear your name, check your account information. Sometimes that stuff gets declined, so just give you a heads up on that. Otherwise, pirates, join me for jumping in with Matt and Joe. I had a really good time chatting with them, and I really love the discussion at the end of the podcast. So head over to their channels and support them if you can. It means the world to me. And with that, pirates, let's get into it. Matt, I think you might be a little bit older than me because you've been playing since Atari, right?
No, that's Joe. Joe was the
oh, that's
gamer.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this straight. I promise. But Joe's been playing since Atari. Matt, you got into it with World of Warcraft.
Correct.
Okay, so Joe, growing up with games and being friends with Matt, like how did you two get together? Because it feels like such a weird circumstance where you were playing games but Matt wasn't, and you convinced him somehow one day.
So I grew up like in a neighborhood. Matt grew up on a farm, not very far from each other. Mm-hmm. And so Matt was more of the outside four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and I was in the neighborhood. If it wasn't riding a bike around the neighborhood, I was inside playing video games. But we met in 6th grade at school. And we were friends, just from that. And so I had always played games. Matt was the guy that would come over for couch co-op and not play. He would just hang out and watch.
Yeah.
Like literally, I would be like, "Hey man, I'm just gonna play this Mario 2. It's all right." He's like, "Yeah." And he would just sit there and watch the entire time and never really played. But when I started playing World of Warcraft after high school, because we were out of high school when it came out.
Yeah, same.
Which makes me feel super old.
No, don't blame you.
But I was playing it, and again, not unlike when we were younger, Matt would come over, and I'd be like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to get to level 12, So if you want to hang tight, we'll do some stuff afterwards." And Matt would watch, and then did you secretly get the game?
So one day,
I think he I think he secretly did it.
Seriously, because him and our other buddy, the guy that Joe's known actually longer than me, they would play together, and we'd go to our other buddy David's house and have a little LAN party, and Joe and David would be sitting there playing. I'd be sitting back on the bed watching them play. Mm-hmm. And I decided, I was like, I want to try, I just want to try it. So I went Walmart back then. You had to buy the 5-disc set and spend 2 days installing it on your computer.
Oh, dial-up install.
Because just dial up, you had to swap out the discs.
Yeah.
It was so it took 2 days to install the thing on the computer. And I started playing without really telling anybody. And I knew that Joe was getting on one day, so I kind of went to the area he was in and ran up, and I was waved at him, and he waved back. And I started a dialogue in the game. I was like, "Hey, it's me." He's like, "What? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I just figured I'd try to start playing, And
I was excited because I had never played an MMO at all at that point.
Yeah, me either.
I was mainly console gamer. PC gaming was. I feel like they're really hardcore doing PC gaming in the early days, but.
Yeah,
I was mainly console, and then I kept seeing the World of Warcraft, and I was like, I'm going to try this game out. I'm going to see what it is. Tried it out. I thought it was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. and then I picked it back up and tried it again, and I was like, oh. And so I was getting sucked into it. I just got to get on level. I mean, just talking about it now makes me want to go collect herbs.
I would love to get back on and play, but
so I wanted to do it. He just kept watching and watching and watching. So the moment that here's like one of my best friends giving it a go and was in the game. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, Matt. I play a lot of games, but I think World of Warcraft, Matt went harder than I did on World of Warcraft.
No, I definitely went hard. Like
I think that
it sucked
I
me
played
in.
a lot. But
Yeah.
Matt got sucked into it. And so for a non-gamer, it was kind of crazy.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. You guys talking about that reminds me of me sitting in my apartment, like waiting for each update and just being like, all right. And then walking away and then coming back and realizing like it's probably been like 30 minutes when I should have swapped the disc out. And I'm like, oh my God, all that time wasted.
Oh, it's the worst.
Why wasn't I watching it? Yeah. So, okay. So you guys have been playing together for a while. What prompted Bearded Guys Gaming?
So, I mean, you've seen us. We both big, bald, and fat. And so apparently that lumps us into a category of looking alike and very similar to each other. And we would go out all the time. People would be like, you know, hey, you guys twins? You guys brothers? You know, and we're brothers by proxy, not by blood. You know, we've known each other 29 years or so. But Matt was the one that actually, oddly enough, again, the non-gamer was watching people play on Twitch. And I was the guy that was like, I don't really understand that. I like to play the games. Why would I watch on Twitch kind of thing? Mm-hmm. And so I knew Matt would watch Twitch and I didn't. And then Matt kind of got me to watch a couple of streams. And then I started to kind of understand like the appeal of Twitch. Yeah. We were sitting at a Cracker Barrel eating lunch one day. Mm-hmm. This lady comes up to me. I was on a lunch break, right? And this lady comes up to us and goes, are you guys twins? You guys look so much alike. And I was like, no, man, we're not twins, just best friends of a long time. We walked out of the Cracker Barrel and I turned to Matt and I said, Matt, let me ask you something. I said, how many people stream on Twitch as like a duo? Like 2 people. He goes, what do you mean? I was like, you know, 2 people on one screen. And he was like, honestly, he goes, not many. He goes, I can think of like one person at the moment. He said, I don't know many people. I said, what if we already game on the weekends together? What if we tried it? I said, do you think you figure out like, you know, technology wise, how to make it happen? Because you couldn't Google like how to dual stream in 2016. Nope. No information existed for it. So Matt's like, I think we could try it. And we were like, let's give it a go. And so we came home to my wife that something I wanted to kind of do on the weekends or try out. And she was on board with it. And Matt and I worked out the kinks and we were really excited about it. Man, that's so cool. So you guys have Bearded Guys Gaming for obvious reasons. The Bearded Guys works out. I'm kind of curious, and this doesn't have to be a huge answer, but I was kind of curious, where did the shave club come from with the Bearded Guys and the old barber poles and stuff? So fun fact, I hate our name. so
after 5.5
years, there are many things that so my wife came up with the name. Yep, so I appreciate that.
On the dining room table.
I appreciate her coming up with a name because we had no idea what to call us. Mm-hmm. But now looking back, I hate that gaming's in the name. I hate that Bearded Guys is in the name because if you're not gaming, people are confused. If you're not bearded, people are confused, right?
Like it really like ties you into like having a beard and playing a game.
Yeah, it really just kind of puts you in a spot. Wait, what was the original question? I didn't even answer it. I was just wondering how you guys got the barber poles and stuff. So the idea behind that is that when we would look at people, for example, if you ever heard of In-Game Asylum, we were like, production quality on Twitch. We really wanted it to look really cool. And we thought we needed a theme, a gimmick, because again, people like Burke Black, the pirate of Twitch, you had these people that had these like personas, these images. I mean, that in 2016, that's what we thought Twitch had to be, right? You had to have like a gimmick, or you had to have something. You had to have a theme. You had to have something that was like, encompassed you, or you embraced, even if you weren't really a pirate. Burt Black's embraced it, and it's been his thing. So we always I like singing, and I always love the old fashioned barbershop backgrounds and looks, barbershop quartets. So we kind of wanted to go with that look because nobody else was doing it. Again, fun fact, I kind of wish we didn't do it because we look back on it and people are like, oh, are you guys barbers? Or you guys, so it's a learning lesson 5.5 years later.
I mean, we would love to own a barbershop.
Hands down, that would be amazing.
Stream out of a side room on the barbershop, that would be amazing. And like, I'd say like a long-term stretch goal type thing. If, something was to go crazy, we actually made it big on Twitch.
I love the vibe of a barbershop.
It's
right.
Like I've always, like, literally from the time I was a kid, because like my grandfather used to take me to get my haircuts, and he went to a barbershop. So literally from the time I was a kid getting haircuts up until like current times, I've always gone to a barbershop to get like my hair done. Or
I went to Fantastic Sam's, by the way. Up until I was like 18 years old, my mom was taking me to where perms were being done. Fantastic Sam's.
It's
so
cool.
I love the barbershop idea afterwards, growing up. So
I mean, it is a cool kind of. I mean, look at it this way: you guys are doing self-care on Twitch in the sense that you're playing games, you're spending time together, you're giving people a place to go to enjoy themselves, where they can get away from the stress of everyday life. Like a barbershop, you go there for self-care. You go there to feel good about yourself, to look good, to come out feeling refreshed and having a cool place to hang. So, I mean, in a way, you guys have a barbershop with your Twitch channel. That is your guys' barbershop, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I love that you put that together, man.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
That's honestly what we try to, that's what we want in our stream,
So you guys have been killing it as far as the Twitch stream goes. Recently you guys picked up Far Cry 6, and I'm really curious about this game because when the reviews were coming out for it, and I want to get into, if anyone's listening, you guys are like, is this actually Sea of Thieves? Yes, we're getting to Sea of Thieves later. Don't worry about it. There's not a lot going on. I wanted to talk to these guys about Far Cry for a little bit. Chill. So you guys have been playing Far Cry 6, a little bit solo, a little bit co-op, but you guys have been going through that. You guys, I think the last time I had a good time, and I always have a good time watching your guys' stream to begin with, but the first time, one of the last times I really interacted with you guys was when you were playing Phasmophobia around Halloween, and it cracked me up because you guys were just like Joe, you're my type of gamer when it comes to scary games, and I could you turned me off on Phasmophobia, so thank you for that. Because I know that I'd never have to play that game to enjoy it.
Some games are better watched than played, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So but with Far Cry 6, I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys have been streaming predominantly Sea of Thieves. That's kind of where you're a lot of the community that I see knows you from. What drew you into picking up Far Cry 6? Is it just taking a break from Sea of Thieves for the moment, or were both of you really interested in looking to get this game? Like, was it the atmosphere? Did the reviews get you in, or anything like that?
So actually a lot of things, like with Far Cry. So I'm a Far Cry fan. Okay. I picked up Far Cry many years ago. Far Cry 3 was my first. And I just love the gameplay loop of Far Cry. It's simplistic. It's fun. It has bugs that I think end up being kind of funny. And I like just Far Cry in general. So it's always been a guilty pleasure, whether I'm streaming or not. I was going to play Far Cry. And when Far Cry 5 came out, I said, oh, I like the idea of the crazy cult and all that. And I said, Matt's never played a Far Cry. I was like, yo, you want to play a Far Cry? It's got co-op, and for Matt and I, we really have to look for games that have that co-op element. We get a lot of these story-based games and we can't play them because when one of us is not there, we get a lot of questions. Where's Matt? Where's Joe? And the dynamic's just not really the same. So we really got to focus on games that have that multiplayer aspect as well, or co-op type aspect. So we got Matt into Far Cry 5, and he had a blast. We had an absolute blast. And so for Far Cry 6, it was a no-brainer that kind of regardless of like numbers and stuff like that, it was going to be a game we played. And Far Cry 6 actually is a little closer to my heart because it's based off of pretty much the island of Cuba, which is where my family's from. Yeah. So when I play Far Cry 6, there are so many things that relate to when I visited Cuba, like the way it looks, the culture that's there, all the things they went through. So it's Far Cry 6 has really been just kind of something special for me.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm kind of curious to turn this on its edge then and say, Matt, are there games that are kind of a guilty pleasure for you that you want Joe to jump into?
I mean, honestly, not. It's crazy. Talk about me being not a gamer who streams on Twitch playing video games. Honestly, like when I leave his house and go home, like I still dabble a little bit into GTA RP. And I play a little bit of that, a little bit of Sea of Thieves from time to time at the house, and a little bit of New World. Other than that, like,
don't leave it out. You're leaving one out. Don't leave it out.
Okay.
Don't leave it out.
Okay.
You have like a 3-year consecutive streak of playing this. Do not leave it out. There is one game. There's one game that I will not play that he's played forever. Go ahead.
Okay. Lord's Mobile on the phone.
Listen, he plays that. He plays Lord's Mobile on the phone like I sit down and would play a whole campaign of any single player game.
Okay, so those are those are like so when I leave here, that's what I do, right? So like, there's nothing like that's like, man, I really wish we could play this on stream, or we should try to do this. Because most of the stuff that we play is because like. That I play at home is because that we've played it on stream. Like, it just goes back to me not being like the super hardcore, gamer that, eat, sleep, breathe, whatever. But it's the games that I do play that I enjoy. So, like when I go home and pull up Twitch, I'm watching like GTA RP or Sea of Thieves. It's so there's nothing that's really drawing my attention. I'm like, man, I really wish we'd play this on stream.
I'll dabble into like 50 games and not get too deep in them. Matt will find, like, for example, here's an example. We played SnowRunners on stream. He was taking his controller home and he was like putting in like 3 times the hours we were on stream.
Yep.
Matt will find a game or two and then go pretty deep into them and invest a lot of time.
And I'll go hardcore, like crazy hours, staying up, especially like on our days off.
Yeah.
I'll stay up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, wake up like 4 hours later and jump right back on it and, and play nonstop. And I'll do that for like 2 weeks. And I'll be like, all right, I've gotten my fun out of the game.
Yeah, then he's done. He never.
And I'm done. I won't touch it again.
I got games I've reinstalled 20 times and probably have less than 14 hours in them because I'm just one of those funny. Like, yeah, I'm just short attention span to some of them.
That's so funny.
So kind of going back to the Lord's Mobile. So it's funny. While I'm talking, I'll pull the game up just so I can give a definitive number here. But not long after we started streaming, we got reached out via email for like a sponsorship opportunity. And it was a mobile company and they were looking to sponsor us playing Lord's Mobile. It was like one of these things like, you play, get to like at least level 15, stream, play on stream for like an hour. We'll give you like such and such, in-game currency, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So Joe's looking over this thing. And he's like, he sends me a text. He's like, hey man, he's like, we've got this thing. He's like, but I don't know if it's your type of game. Again, because I'm the non-gamer, like whatever. And I was like, what, what is it? He explains it to me. I pull it up on my phone. I look at it. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, yeah. He's like, nah, we just won't worry about it, right? Like, okay.
I mean, how is it going to get a non-gamer to play a mobile game?
Yeah.
Right. Well, plus, like, get our community to kind of buy into it.
That's the kick. That's like the trick that they have you on, though, right? Like, everyone's got a phone. You pull it out from time to time. You just open it a little bit, and then next thing you know, you're sitting on the couch for 2 hours, and you're like, why am I on my phone for this long? And you realize you do that anyway, and they're like, oh, well, let's just play a game. So I don't know. I see the appeal. It's like the Raid Shadow Legends right now. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're going hard for that. So, but you're still playing it even after that email.
So we turned down the opportunity, like the paid opportunity, right, to make like $200-$300 for this opportunity and go past it. Okay.
Oh no.
And then I don't know how long later Matt says,
well, so I had to see what the game was about. Right. So I went ahead and downloaded it, started playing it, and I was like, and at first, like, I wasn't like super into the game. Like, I, dabbled here and there, but let's just say as of today, consecutive logins of 1,394 days.
So you're over 3 years. He's been logging in daily to this game. I like the commitment is unreal. So I want my $200-$300 for that sponsor stream now. You know what I mean? I want to go back now. And the funny thing is, we just got another opportunity to do a thing with him again, and I didn't even look at it.
Oh man,
I was kind of upset at that point because I could have got some free in-game currency that I had to pay for.
It's just fake gems or something.
Oh my god, that's so great. I wanted to kind of trollishly get into the GTA RP stuff, but I'll hold off on that because I know how you guys, or I know one of you loves it, one of them you probably doesn't love it quite as much.
Yeah.
So we'll hold off on that, but I'm kind of, I gotta throw this out there before we dive into Sea of Thieves content. I'm really surprised you guys haven't done a whole lot as far as going through some of the Game Pass titles, or maybe you have, maybe I'm just late to the party.
I have downloaded probably 90% of them. I just don't do them on stream.
See, that's Joe's guilty pleasure. Like,
Yeah, let me tell you something. Game Pass,
stream.
hands down, the best subscription service right now.
Oh my god!
The amount of games is unreal, and it's just nutty that I can't tell you how many games I've recently told people that they've bought on Steam, and I'm like, yeah, I got that on Game Pass, and they're like, it's on Game Pass, and I'm like, I don't buy a game now before going to Game Pass. I look at Game Pass first, and then if it's not on Game Pass, then maybe I'll entertain buying it. But there's too many great titles on there. It's unreal. We just don't stream a lot of them.
That makes sense. Okay, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, there's been like so many really good co-op games that I've seen on Game Pass recently that I'm just like, man, I feel like you guys you're in like the perfect ecosystem if you go through like Microsoft or Game Pass or things like that. Steam is great too because of all the opportunities that just come straight to PC. But man, there's a lot of good, and same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo does a fair enough job of doing co-op games as well too. So I'm surprised you guys haven't done like some Mario Kart streams and Super Mario Brothers and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, so I think that goes back to the business mentality when it comes to streaming and kind of the acumen of what we're trying to achieve and maintain and stuff like that, which honestly, that side of Twitch and or the streaming industry or content creation really, in my opinion, put the damper on us just being like gamers.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes I just want to get on and play a game and not really care too much what the metrics or performance will be. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Bearded Guys Gaming, you know, it's what's financially keeping us both afloat. And so we have to do certain things, you know, regardless if the game is really good. I mean, take Far Cry 6, for example. Far Cry 6, it's not that people don't enjoy it, but it doesn't have an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 5 had almost 4 times the audience for months longer than Far Cry 6. Why? I don't know. It's just the way it goes sometimes. So because of that, we really literally limit ourselves to certain titles and certain things.
Yeah.
Which is lucky because we both just truly adore and love Sea of Thieves. So it's easy that it's one of our main titles.
Yeah.
It's easy to play it.
It's interesting because it's so funny because I always think of Twitch as like an arcade. Yeah, everyone has like games that they gravitate towards, and when they walk into the arcade, if someone's playing on that machine, they'll just sit behind them and watch and just wait for them to finish up. And that's kind of what Twitch is to me. So you always know like what machine you're gonna kind of want to go play because, you know, you may really, really be good at like Street Fighter and stuff, but every once in a while you want to go play Killer Instinct. And if it's, you know, if it's being used, you'll go watch it for a little bit. But chances are if someone's coming in to watch you play Street Fighter and you're over at Killer Instinct, they're just going to be like, all right, well, I'll go watch whoever's still playing the Street Fighter arcade.
It's 100% that.
Yep.
And it stinks because you walk by a lot of great arcade games doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not enough time. You know, so something I'm actually doing now, Matt and I have our own private channels that we did for various reasons, like things to kind of do off the grid when we were streaming World of Warcraft. We're playing World of Warcraft. It was a way for us to like record live with our raids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we both have channels that we don't push and promote us to be like really big things, but they're just kind of something to do in the off time.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, there's a lot of games that I want to stream. I just been doing them over there and kind of a little bit more low key about it. And it's like, you know, if people find it and are hanging out there, they really have nothing else to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it, you know? So, but it kind of gives us a chance to play some stuff that we can't do on our main channel.
Yeah. It's a tough nut to crack with Twitch because and unfortunately this is the age of where millennials and, you know, a couple Gen Xers and mostly Gen Z are having to monetize their hobbies to stay afloat most of the time.
Yeah.
So
we do it full time as a business.
Yeah.
I mean, we dove into it full time as a business, but it's the same thing over on YouTube. the difference is it's the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a channel that was based off of Sea of Thieves and you start playing, I don't know, Fortnite, you're probably not going to do well or as well as you did because the algorithm's got your channel skewed for that Sea of Thieves content.
Yeah.
And that change just really kind of messes it up. And so you get a lot of content creators that get stuck in that little pigeonhole in that little spot where they got to continue doing what they were doing that kind of kept things moving in a forward direction, I guess you would say.
Yeah. You lose audience, and then it takes a while to rebuild a different one unless people know you.
It really does.
Unless you're like the late night crew with Burke and Cream and Gassy Mexican and them, like unless you're known as like the crew that picks up every new game, especially if it's like a survival game, and people are coming to you to watch you play the game before anyone else can, like you really have to kind of stay in your rut and really kind of plow forward to make sure that you're maintaining and growing that community until you can get that community to a point like I was talking to Smexy a while back, and she's finally starting to get her community to a point where it's not only sustainable if she grows or loses a little bit, but she's also kind of got them around the idea that it's okay to be a variety streamer, but still love Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's tough.
Absolutely.
So now that we've kind of gotten a good idea of who you guys are, what you guys have been doing, all that good jazz, and we've gotten to talk a little bit about games that weren't Sea of Thieves, I wanted to dive into some of the Sea of Thieves news, get some feelings from you guys, because you haven't been playing it for a while. I'm sure we're all kind of sitting back waiting for either the next event or the new season coming up. I know in December, the first week of December, we've got the new season kicking off, and we'll see kind of how that goes. There's been some interesting things on Insiders that we can't talk about, but going into season 4, we've been having the Fury of the Damned event that finished up. Hopefully everyone got an opportunity to get all your cosmetics and things like that. But we also have a nice little lead up that we didn't. I don't usually get these lead ups on these things. But Sea of Thieves is actually going to be doing some Twitch drops, and that's something that you guys are going to be participating in. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But that's going to be kicking off at the beginning of the 12th of November at 10 a.m., I believe, GMT. And then that's going until the 16th of November. And I think that ends at 2 a.m. GMT on the 17th, or no, 10 a.m. on the 17th, technically. So they're releasing more of the Twilight Hunter set. Have these guys, these events, these Twitch drops are always kind of good for streamers because it always helps boost you guys up, make sure that your guys' community is doing healthy. I'm curious to get your input, positive or negative, when it comes to Twitch drops. It's good for your business. How do you feel about knowing that during these times it's going to be beneficial for you to stream just Sea of Thieves, especially if you're like in the middle of a Far Cry game?
So this is actually a really good question, and I'll tell you, like, kind of like my mentality has changed over a while about Sea of Thieves a little bit, and then also about how the Twitch drops and all that work. I'll first start off by saying that I'm really glad they introduced the drops for everyone. We have been Sea of Thieves partners since the inception of the program. So we were part of the partnership when the program did not exist. They reached out to us, asked if we'd be interested, and it was like super humbling and an honor to do it. And when we first started doing drops, I mean, it was just crazy for our channel. We were going from like, instead of having like, let's say on an average of 300 people in our channel, we were having concurrent numbers of like up to 1,000, people
Wow.
on our channel. And it was just like this craziness, right? In fact, our mods at first were like, oh my God, like this is nuts. There's all these new people, and it was a really exciting vibe. But then you would have like, that week would be over, right? And then it becomes like Deflategate a little bit. You turn around and your numbers are a little more realized, a little more, actual. They go back down. So in the beginning, it was really like this tumultuous roller coaster of like up and down of like, oh my God, all these people are here, and you're like super amped and hyped. And then you would go back to like normal. And it wasn't that you weren't excited about where you had normally, but it was like the sugar rush that you got over the weekend wasn't there.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people on Twitch experienced that in general when gifted subs came out. When gifted subs came out, a lot of streamers were getting this massive amount of gifted subs. And then the next month, those gifted subs would go away. And they were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? My numbers are down.
Yeah.
So Matt and I did most of the drops in the beginning, and then we elected to step back from a couple of the drops. And we did not stream the drops because we weren't a big fan. We've been doing this 5.5 years, and we weren't a big fan of how it was, I don't know how to say it, but like kind of pumping the numbers up. And we look at our analytics and we do all that. We have to, not because we love what we do. We are incredibly fortunate to have a community that we have and do what we do. Hands down, like absolutely. We're living the dream. I'm playing games with my best friend full time. That being said, we have to look at the analytics side because we have to pay Uncle Sam taxes. We have to, pay the electric and all this stuff too.
Yeah.
So analytics are extremely important in any business design to check out where things are. And when you get these little these inflated bubbles, it really can kind of throw off the numbers a lot and skew things. And so we kind of stepped back from some of the Twitch drops and weren't doing them, which on the days that the Twitch drops came out, we were playing other games. We sat back and then, Matt and I got to thinking, we were like, while this is an inflated kind of fictitious number, there were many, many people, even though it was like a 1% retention rate, people that were coming to Twitch for the first time that have never seen Twitch before. And we're maybe discovering our channel or there's so many great content creators in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Other channels that they never had before. So while 98%, 99% weren't ever going to return except for drops, there was that 1 or 2% that was, and new community members. And we also realized that we were kind of taking away the people that maybe watch us that just, love Sea of Thieves, but also love Joe and Matt. We were taking away the ability to earn the drops on our channel where they normally would have watched. So we kind of returned back to doing drops again, and our numbers are a little more normalized now. As we stepped out of that space, more people kind of stepped in. More people had access to the exclusivity of the drops, so you could get your drops other places. It kind of got, our numbers ended up not getting that like super inflated number anymore, which I think was kind of a good thing. It kind of helped us out to be more comfortable. And so now when we have drops, we do it not for the bursts and numbers. We do it because we're excited to be able to provide it for the few people that are interested in getting in our channel.
Yeah.
So, but I was a big fan once they added the drops for everyone type thing. I like some things in the partner program in terms of exclusivity and stuff like that, but I've always felt like Twitch is a pretty tough place to battle, to be seen. You are amongst many amazing people, and to get that moment to shine and stuff like that. And when we start doing things like drops and all that, it really starts to separate, make it even harder for some of the people to get there. So, so I like drops, and then I'm also glad that they do the drops for everyone.
Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know, if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and the content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show. So I wanted, and if you feel comfortable, I am kind of curious, how do drop, because we're coming up on this, it's starting on the 12th. And those are going to, because I don't think you finished Far Cry 6. Have you started like prepping your audience, like when you go into a stream and say like, hey, just a reminder, we're doing Far Cry now. When drops come, we're going to be swapping over to Sea of Thieves to try and catch some of the people that are coming in for Far Cry and are enjoying your guys' content there, that when the drops, or when Sea of Thieves does the Twitch drops and suddenly you're playing Sea of Thieves and the Far Cry people are like, what is this? This isn't Far Cry. Are you doing anything to kind of help protect some of that drop off that would come from having to jolt between games?
So honestly, the drop off happened going from Sea of Thieves to Far Cry.
Right.
And let's say the people that we got that are interested in Far Cry, if we're being honest, you're going to have a less than 5% retention rate on them following you to another game. If we're just being completely transparent. And this is based upon, we played over 120 games on our channel over the almost 6 years. Mm-hmm. So, and that's looking at analytics, going over with our mods. We're going to have less than 5% actually go from Far Cry, regardless if we were leaving uncompleted, completed, 100%ing Far Cry. 5% will probably go with us somewhere else. And I think that's being kind of generous. That being said, when it comes to things like drops, I mean, it's funny you're mentioning this. Literally yesterday, we had the talk. Hey, guys, here we got going on for like game plan. Hoping to finish Far Cry today and or tomorrow, which should make us in line to hop back on Sea of Thieves on Thursday, because we know drops are coming this weekend. We do put priority to go back into drops because, like I said, a majority of our community comes from that. But it's kind of funny you're mentioning the drops in Sea of Thieves. There's another game where we got partnered called 7 Days to Die, and they have this new alpha coming up. We don't know the exact date, but we've also been telling our community when that comes, even if we're in Sea of Thieves, we will go back to that game. So we are constantly kind of communicating with our community as to here's where we're going to prepare people. And we tell people, you know, hey, look, guys, we know you're not interested in Far Cry. We're going to be playing we're going to try to play Far Cry for the next 2-3 weeks. And then we'll be back playing Sea of Thieves. We try to always communicate up front so people can prepare, because I would never want somebody to watch our channel, if they just really don't like the game. You know, it's not, they're there to enjoy for whatever reason. And we get it, you know, we understand. So when it comes to like the whole like pressure of having to stay in the one game, that really goes back on the onus of the streamer. That's your own fault by cultivating that culture. Like you said about Smexy earlier, it's 100% the way you got to do it. You have to let your community know these are the plans and let them decide to do what they want to do. And you have to either stick to those plans and go with it and be comfortable knowing that there'll be the ups and downs and how do you adjust, or don't do them at all and you're stuck and your community will be miserable, you'll be miserable, stuff like that. So
yeah, it's really interesting to kind of think about how the whole industry works, because I have Patreon for Keelhauled, and I don't put a lot of promises on that Patreon page. There's the ad-free content that I promise there, and then there's the shout outs for the show and a Discord access to a specific channel just for those folks, so I can talk to them, where they can reach out to me, and I have like a very good eye on when that channel lights up. But I also do a lot of stuff outside of that. Not a lot, but I do some stuff outside of those descriptions for that group of community members, because they are supporting me. And it's one of those situations where I feel like I want to continue to justify their investment in me. And I see that with Twitch, but I can't commit the way that you guys are able to commit to doing Twitch streams just with my schedule. And but I totally relate, where you guys are getting subs and people are investing in your entertainment for Sea of Thieves. But when you sit there and have to say, like, we're going to be doing Far Cry for 2 weeks, that's half a month's worth of entertainment that they are missing out on. And that's a scary thought as a content creator, to think like there's going to be half of a month where someone is not going to be as invested in the brand as much as they would if I were just playing the thing that they were supporting me for. And I don't know how you guys rationalize that, or how you guys deal with that kind of stress and anxiety, because that it messes with me all the time, if I'm being honest.
So I'll tell you, every person on Twitch goes through it. There's probably one or two that don't, and I don't even believe that they don't. So I promise you're not alone when it comes to that. Some people are more vocal about it. I absolutely love talking about the business side of Twitch and the backside. And I know that some people just don't like it or are turned off by it. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. Yeah. You know, like, but I will tell you something I think that helps with Matt and I, and it makes it unique. But at the same time, even though we have this thing, it's still stressful.
Oh, yeah.
There's two of us. So when I'm feeling the heat or feeling like it's not going well, or hey, we know we're gonna dive into Far Cry. We know that numbers have been up like 20% for CCU, right? Or CCVs. You're like, okay, we're going good. We're gonna go jump into this and take a risk. I can lean on Matt and be like, man, I'm feeling stressed about this, or Matt can lean on me. So I think because we have that dual stream, you know, we have each other to kind of like lean on when it comes to stuff like that. It's a little easier. I think one of the things that sometimes streamers lack in the streaming community is enough streamer friends, right? There's a lot of trying to one up the other streamer, or out content the other streamer, but sometimes you just need to talk to another streamer and go, oh my God, I feel that same way. Or yeah, when I went and played this, I didn't have as many viewers, or I was doing this and I didn't feel like it was like, I wasn't as vibing as well. Sometimes just being able to talk to somebody that can relate to that knows what that feels like, can really, really, really help with stress. And Matt and I have each other to do that.
Yeah.
And we've had that for, almost 6 years. So it's definitely a benefit, but yeah, that's
really
definitely
cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That definitely, it kind of speaks to something that I want to transition into Sea of Thieves is you guys have each other. You generally do a duo sloop or sometimes rarely a galleon, but when you guys are out and about on Sea of Thieves, I know you guys love kind of going out and going for the PvP. That's kind of what I've always ever seen you guys doing. I want to talk about the state of the game from a streamer perspective, because right now we have two things that are going on. A lot of people are battling the portal system and how people are jumping portals from server to server to retain not only their emissary level, but also just to get away if they want with their flag and not lose out on like their supplies and stuff. I'm curious how you guys feel about the portal system and being able to hop servers as streamers.
So that's a good one. We actually talked pretty passionately about it, and we didn't portal hop for honestly the first month. So I will tell you that I am a fan of the portal system. Mm-hmm. And then there are things that I think definitely need to be improved upon the system itself. So if you want my tinfoil hat, the portal system was created accidentally in terms of hopping. But it's been a sought after feature by veterans for a long time. People have wanted a way, even like solo sloopers. I mean, take out like the galleons or whatever. I think galleon mode's easy mode, but you take the people that have been on a session for 2-3 hours. If you've ever played an 8-hour session and you do PvP, you can kill a server in a couple of hours. It doesn't mean that server doesn't rejuvenate, come back to life at some point, but you can play, take out all the boats, and then all of a sudden it's kind of not busy on the server anymore. The server's trying to repopulate. People are trying to get their footings. Now you got 4 boats sitting at the outpost, which tends to make it a little more stale. It's not fun to sink a boat on an outpost. Yeah. So the idea of being able to force yourself onto another server is huge. In fact, prior to the portal system, when server migration used to happen, people would intentionally, when they found a dead server, drop their anchors in order to force a merge. So people have been trying to do it for a long time, but it's been a sought after feature. But with the introduction of the Pirate's Life, that portal system getting implemented to create the kind of separate the tall tales from the adventure servers, they kind of created this loophole, right? The portals, inadvertently. And in order to fix the idea of hopping through portals, they were going to have to rework the entire structure of how they did their Pirate's Life, right? Yeah. So lucky for Rare, and I think it's good, they supported portal hopping because I think there was enough of a positive embracement in the community about it. Yeah. So I think it was kind of a win for them. But here's what I would tell you. Here's my vision on portals. I like portals. Easy answer is make it so emissary flags don't go through. That's an easy answer, right? Yeah. But I also like the idea of being a Reaper 5 and being able to see boats and all this stuff. We get the whole like inorganic or organic experience is a really big thing for me. I like having the organic experience. If you look at Reaper 5s, they don't tend to... How often do you have a server migrate, not through portal hopping, but the server migrate that you had a Reaper 5 end up on your server? It's very, very, very far and few in between. Yeah. Okay. There are times of the days when there's more server migration than others, but we play this game, 40 plus hours a week. And I think we have a server merge maybe once every couple of weeks, just a natural server merge. So when portal hopping got introduced and people were able to take their boats through and their Reapers and their flags, I know it kind of got some bad press. I'm a big fan of things happening organically. And so what I mean by that is like, if Matt and I decide today we're going to be gold hoarders, we put up a flag, correct? And we're doing our gold hoarders and we're almost a tier 5 or whatever it is. We constantly check the map. So organically, we always check to see what boats there are. Yeah. And one of the things we do is we maybe see someone put up a Reaper 1. At that moment, we get to make a decision. Do we want to risk having the Reaper 1 on the map? And let's say we're not PvPers. Do we want to risk with the Reaper 1 being on the map? Do we want to continue on with our emissary at the rate that it is? Or do we want to lower the flag to reduce visibility? Because we know that eventually if that 1 hits a 5, it can see us. Yeah. So organically, we have the option to evade the Reaper, right? Yeah. With portal hopping, you don't get that. They come through as a 5 and you're already there. Now, we've had people counter and say, well, be looking at the map. We always look at the map, but when something comes through instantaneous, you no longer get that decision to kind of, we've literally had it where, you know, we as Reapers have come through a portal and the emissary is at the island right outside the portal. So to me, the easiest way to fix that would be to make some kind of audible clue, like when a Reaper 5 comes through a portal or a boat comes through a portal, maybe like a big, you know, kind of like how the Fort of Fortune sound goes off whenever you're on a Fort of Fortune server. Make an audible clue. At the end of the day, there are people that aren't going to pay attention to audible clues.
Or know what they are.
You can't save everybody, but the point is that they need to make it where it's still an organic type function. Because let's go to the audible clue. The Reaper 5 comes through and we're Gold Hoarder 4s, and we hear the sound and we know that boat is a 5 and it can see us. We can make the decision at that point to go and immediately rush an outpost and lower our flag and try to evade them, or we can stay where we are. But I think the flaw is when it's inorganically, these people are able to kind of like stealthily come through, and then all of a sudden they're on the server and they're bearing down on you and you just had no idea. It takes away from the emissary system. Something else I would like to see at it is I would like to see them fine tune the portal system, associate a cost to it. Yeah. I think that if you are going to have the benefit of being able to take, like, I don't start on a server as a Gold Hoarder 5 and get tier 5 quests. As a tier 5 Reaper, you have the ability to see all the boats as you just go from portal to portal to portal immediately upon entering that server. Yeah. So something else that I'd like to see is a cost associated with it. And I think one of the greatest costs is we have a severe bloat when it comes to doubloons right now, right? For most people, there's not a lot of a doubloon sync on things. So one of the things they could do is make like some kind of portal stone or something you have to pay for that you buy with doubloons. So that would encourage Reapers to do reaping, such as grabbing Reaper's chest to replenish their doubloons. If the cost is associated with doubloons, it kind of ties it all back together. Now the Reapers that hardly ever go after Reaper marks are going after Reaper marks so they can have doubloons so they can buy their portal stones. And maybe, you know, I don't know, the boat that is being attacked by the portal hopper, maybe that portal stone is something you vote on and then it drops in the water like the flag does, and it's something you can turn into value. You know, we sank a boat with a portal stone. You know, we ended up in turn sinking the Reaper boat. So I think that, like, I like the portal system. It just needs to be fine-tuned, in my opinion. It was accidentally done. It's been embraced. It's great for content for content creators, you know, but I do think it needs some fine-tuning. It needs to be looked at because I do think it defeats some other systems such as like emissaries and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely.
It was very long-winded, so I apologize.
No. I was listening to Captain Blubber and Shiny Ray's podcast on YouTube, and they had Fuzzy Bond on there recently, and Fuzzy Bond had a really interesting idea that I'm really happy with the way that he talked about it. And he talked about whenever a Reaper 5 jumps through a portal, the cost of it wouldn't necessarily be doubloons, but he did agree that there should be a cost. His idea was that it should take off 2 to 3 levels of the Reaper's emissary value, so that as soon as they pop in, they still have their flag, but they didn't have the Reaper 5 that they need to, and they need to grind it back up to a 5 to see if there's any emissaries on there, or sail over to an outpost to check the tables. And that way they're given the whoever's on the server, usually most of us have started paying attention for any kind of weird lag spikes. We check the table after like a big lag spike to see like, did a ship just pop in? And usually if you were to have like a Reaper 3 pop through a portal, they would have to grind up to 2 or grind back up to 5 to be able to see if there's any emissaries and where they are. That would give any emissaries on the server at the time at least a little bit of a head start to decide, okay, do we need to finish up what we're doing and go turn in and lower our flag, or do we need to turn in and then go hop portals, or are we going to go see if we can sink them before they get to a grade 5 and they can see us? Something like that, I think, would be, I would love to have more discussions like this, where we're kind of able to kind of work out, like, what are some of the ways that we can help kind of balance out the ability to hop from server to server, and also inform and prevent like the immediate advantage of a Reaper 5 being able to get in there and start hunting down other emissaries who, you know, between like 10-minute map checks didn't happen to notice the lag spike because they were in the middle of a Fort of Fortune or something, and a Reaper 5 spawned 3 islands away and are bearing down on them to come get their flag, something like that.
Yeah.
So I would love to have it.
I fully support it, because like essentially what Fuzzy's saying is the same thing as me.
Yep.
It needs to, there needs to be a process there where it slows down and makes an organic thing happen. If it bumps them down to like a 3, then you have time to see on your map table that a Reaper's on the server. And again, it goes back to the whole premise. Now I've got to make a decision. And I just want to throw this out there. This is coming from, from Matt and I. Listen, I love portal hopping as a 5 because it's instantaneous action for us. We get on the server, there's somebody there, we go after it.
Yeah.
If there's nobody there, we move on to the next one. But for me, Sea of Thieves isn't just about what kind of content, how easily can you make the content for us. Man, it caters to such a wide audience. My kids play this game, and I think people tend to forget that the audience is not always a hyper PvP focused or a hyper PvE. It's made up of all kinds of different peoples, and Rare has done a pretty darn good job balancing Sea of Thieves for these 3.5 years. And they just need a little tweaking for it.
Yeah. And I think that's what I love about these discussions is we're getting together groups of people who have different mindsets and trying to see if we can come to an accord, essentially, on some of the things that we would like to see messed around with the game, or at least present these ideas to the devs in a digestible form, so that this is kind of, because if it's one thing I've learned about game design from the friends that I have in it, is these discussions are being had all the time at studios. The trouble is there's only a few number of people around a table or on a Zoom call talking to try and work out like what's the best way to approach the next update and how can they impact current systems to try and make it more balanced. And unless they have community feedback in easily digestible form, they can't bring that to the table and be like, look, I know you guys said that the system's fine. These people here who are respected members of the community are all talking about the same thing. And if they're all talking about the same thing, they see the thing that can be tweaked. And here are the suggestions that they put out that help kind of inform what I'm trying to tell you guys is something that we should do for the game as a whole. And we're trying to give them cannons to keep firing at these issues to see if we can either, sink the issue altogether, or at least kind of get them to understand like where we would like to see things kind of move to help in it better balance the game for everyone, not just streamers, not just hardcore PvPers, not just PvEers. I would love to have a discussion one day about alliances, because that's a highly contested topic. And and it's not that I think it's a bad discussion to have or it's too hot of a topic to jump into, but I think that much like we're talking with the portal system and Reaper 5s, I would love to see if there's a way to tweak it. I've been having some discussions about that. We've been going for about an hour. I know you guys have stream that you want to jump into. Do you guys want to keep going, or do you guys need to take out?
No, we can keep going.
Okay.
I'll talk to the boss. Matt, can we keep going?
he likes to do that and make me feel good.
He's just laughing that I call him the boss. He liked it. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay, so listen, you should have known the day that you got me on the horn, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you messed up.
You got a lot of editing to do because it's gonna. I talk so much.
None of this gets. I love having the organic conversation. And I know.
Sorry, podcast family.
They don't care. They better not. If they complain about how long these episodes are, I swear I'm going to delete this thing. We're turning this podcast around. We're not going to Disneyland.
You heard that.
So to jump into a little bit away from, because essentially what we're talking about is jumping in from portal to portal to get to different servers because we want action. I wanted to bring up alliances with you guys as a base mechanic, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Right now, there's an issue that came up that I wanted to talk about with streamers, because alliance servers are a thing. It's not something that is currently condoned by Rare. A lot of the affiliated Discord servers that were alliance servers have been removed from the pool of lists that are on their website, stating that these are affiliated Discord servers or partner Discord servers. So Rare is starting to weed out the alliance servers from their promotional stuff. What I was wondering from you guys is just kind of starting off, how do you guys feel about alliance servers Matt, I don't know if you're playing Lords or not right now, but I'm,
Out.
All right, I gotta go. We're calling this over.
All right, the boss decided that we can't keep going.
oh no, what did I do?
No, you're good.
Matt, how do you feel about Alliance servers to kind of get a beat on where you guys, before I dive too deep?
So officially, we don't do really any alliancing, especially like when it comes to like a full alliance server.
It's boring.
Do we care that there are alliance servers out there that somebody wants to get on and take over a server and just do events and spam quests and stuff like that to gain money or rep? Mm-hmm. No, it's everybody, like Joe said earlier, there's so many different ways of playing this game. Some people get enjoyment out of alliancing up and trying to make the gold and this and that. Mm-hmm. It's to us, like, there's no advantage to you having 100 million gold or you having 500 gold. Everything in the game is all cosmetic, so there's no advantage. You may own all the stuff that the store offers, where somebody else doesn't have anything. To us, it's like Joe said, it's kind of boring. We like to PvP. Some days we're better at it than others, but we still like to go out there and battle boats. Mm-hmm. And when you're on a PvP, an alliance server, you don't get that. We like to find the alliance servers by getting a random server hop or and going there and trying to do what we can to disrupt the alliances. We've done that a few times, and that's definitely fun. Mm-hmm. You find yourself in a 3 or 4 way battle with a couple alliance boats, and
it's a nice challenge.
It's fun. Like, it's stressful. Like, you got this boat trying to board you and this boat trying to board you while you're trying to shoot cannonballs at this boat, and I got Joe trying to board this boat and I'm trying to stay alive, and it's but it's fun though. Like, that's the kind of stuff that we enjoy, where they enjoy being allianced up and doing whatever they want to do.
Like, for me, I don't really care too much, right? I know that's like kind of a hot topic. I think when Emissaries came out and they had the Emissary Ledger, I alliance servers taint the desire to ever want to try to be like the top of the ledger and stuff like that. But again, like Matt said, all of the stuff is cosmetically driven, right? It's really about the voyage and the time you have while you're playing. So everything else is cosmetically driven. And aside from the Shrouded Ghost, everything in the game is relatively pretty easy to achieve. Mm-hmm. So even with the ledger stuff, and alliance servers kind of like taking over for that and making it to where like a lot of times we're at the top, most people can get all that stuff anyway. It's not going to be that hard to get to. Yeah. So if people want to do the alliance server, I don't care. It doesn't affect my gameplay. If I get on a server that is all allianced, except for our boat, sweet, because all you did was make it a challenge for us. But most of those servers we're never on, we never see them, and I don't care. 500 million gold, who cares? It doesn't affect me at all. And I also understand the appeal. We have a community of a community that follows us. While I think being on alliance servers are boring, once every couple months, getting 6 ships on a server with all the community members and you guys are just goofing around and maybe doing some events together, I can see the appeal of it. Absolutely. Hands down. I can see how that would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So I'm basically with you guys, but I love looking at situations from multiple perspectives. And one of the things that kind of popped into my mind was this last event. And with this last event, one of the things that I noticed was we had, depending on who you are, for me, I had a pretty rough time getting up to my Wicked Web cannons, because I typically run solo late at night, where I don't necessarily feel comfortable taking on a Fort of Fortune alone or kicking up a Fort of the Damned. Whereas I had other people who jumped onto an alliance server and after 3 Fort of the Dams were completely done with it. And one of the things that I was thinking about was alliance servers impacted positively or negatively that event from that perspective. But also we had the community event where we had to kill 150 million skeletons. And I'm assuming that number wasn't just a number on a dartboard that they chucked a dart at to see, what number they were going to put up for that collector's version of the Wicked Web figurehead. I'm basing my thoughts on it is that it's all analytics based, and they have an idea of exactly what it is, whatever the actual number for the last 3 months was. They took that number, they rounded it off, and then they chipped away a little bit from there to give a little bit of a buffer, and then enough time to do it within like a week to week and a half's amount of time. And the thing that I didn't think about when this event first came out was how much Alliance servers would impact that number. And is that number so high because of Alliance servers? So
I mean, it's got to be, like you said, there's the fact that, like you said, they didn't just come up with a number.
Yeah.
You know, they had to have known roughly the amount that's done and stuff like that. And to come up with something we had to start somewhere. And I'm sure that the Alliance servers impacted it. So, I mean, go Alliance servers. Thank you for my, Wicked Web cannons. I appreciate that. We did our part, in my opinion, playing to get our first set of cannons. And then, thankfully I was able to go play some Far Cry and still we were able to achieve the community driven ones. But yeah, I'm sure it does. And I know this is like a topic for another time. There definitely is balancing things I would like for Alliance servers. There definitely is some balancing issues with alliances. So I want to make sure that's pretty clear. While I don't really care too much about them, there's some things they definitely do need to balance out with it.
I want to wrap this up because I don't want to keep you guys too late, because I want to respect your guys' actual work shift that you're getting into here with us.
I appreciate it, man.
I wanted to toss out the idea because I was talking with Kylia last night, a good friend of mine that we do another show with, and I told her, I was like, I know you're really big into having one or two ships together on a server, just playing with your friends, because we want Rare to recognize that we may or may not have more than 4 friends that play Sea of Thieves. And to not dwell too much on that, I asked her, I was like, I've been thinking a lot about alliances, and I'm thinking maybe we need to just take them out of the game. Like, maybe we just need to remove the flag altogether. And she told me straight up, she's like, no, I don't want that. And she gave me very good reasons why. And the compromise, I thought, was, what if there was a limit? And the idea that I had was, at every outpost, there is a flagpole over by the shipwright. And that flagpole has a certain number of flags on it. The flags can only go up to 3, but when you see 3 flags on that flagpole, that is how many ships are allianced right now. And only so many ships can get allianced on a server. And if the ship server size is 6, knock that in half and make sure that only 3 ships can be allianced on any server. Because if you just limit to how many ships can be allianced, then you're just going to have alliance servers with multiple groups of allianced ships as opposed to one large group of allianced ships. So you have an idea where on every server, you have a flagpole at every outpost. It indicates how many ships are in an alliance. You can go around to the different tables and take a look and see, like, who's doing what. Can you pick the emissary that everyone is agreed on for the alliance, sail over, find the alliance, and then join that alliance, still leaving the opportunity for betrayal in, but at least giving an idea at every outpost of how many ships are actually in an alliance, and offering that as information for people who are portal hopping, but also trying to reduce the likelihood of alliance servers so that there's still some opportunity for people to join together in groups. And after 3 ships, I think that's a fair number of 12 people that you could potentially have playing together. If you have more than 12 people that you want to play together, maybe that's where custom servers come in down the line when those become more publicly available. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this, because you guys have a nice community. You are already 2 people playing together. How do you feel about that?
So the 2 people playing together already presents a problem with us a lot of times. You think about it. We were talking prior to the podcast starting. When it goes to collaborating with other like streamers or people in our community, we take up half a boat. Yeah. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And it's always been kind of what we love playing together. It's always been kind of like something like, oh, it kind of stinks because, if you're going to play with Matt and Joe, it's only 2 slots available, which has always been kind of, hard. So that's where like alliance is like another boat or something like that wouldn't be that bad of an idea and have that. But I do like your idea. I like the visibility of being able to see how many people are in the alliance at a quick glance. We all hop on the servers now, go to the outpost, and what's one of the first things we do? We look to see what emissaries are up. Yeah. And if we could get on and see what emissaries are up, and or see if Reapers are up, and also see, oh, there's a 2-boat alliance or there's a 3-boat alliance, that would just add more to making the determination of, is this the server we want to stay on? I love that idea.
Awesome. Matt, how do you feel? I'm curious. I really want to get your thoughts on that.
No, I think having like a flagpole at the dock, showing like there's 2 flags up. So knowing that when we join that server that there's an alliance with 2 boats, that that's it. Is it necessary? No, but it's kind of like useful information, is especially for PvPers who are looking to PvP, knowing that there's 2 boat alliance. You don't know what kind of boats, but there's a 2 boat alliance. Also, it's useful information for somebody who's looking to join an alliance. You join a server and be like, hey, there's 2 other boats already on the server. Let's see if we can find them and and join up. So
yeah,
I think it's good. It's anytime you get a little bit of information on a server is always helpful.
I think that's kind of what I like about the idea. Joe, if you have another thought on this, I definitely want to get your thoughts on that. But I like the idea of giving people who are PvPers who do want to work on it a bit of a hard mode, because you're not always going to run into the best of the best on the seas. But if you know that there's at least 2 ships that are working in tandem, then there's a better chance that if you did want to go up against multiple ships and kind of put yourself to the test, that would afford you the opportunity. And then on the complete opposite side of it, if you are a crew that is looking to join up with other people who are willing to work together, that you can see that there's at least 2 flags up there. There's an open slot for 1 more alliance ship, and I can go see if I can appeal to their desire for gold and see if I can join up on that alliance. And then that way going in, like, what is the kind of temperament of the server that you're on, which has always been a big kind of mystery for everyone. That's why we like the Reaper 5 flag, to see what ships are emissaries. That's why we like the tables, to see how many ships are flying emissaries and what type of emissaries. That information has always been information that people latch onto. And I think with having an alliance flag at every outpost, that also kind of helps inform the temperament of the server. And I'm kind of curious, Joe, what do you think?
So dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. We talk a lot about if, ands, or buts, what we could have in the game and what would make it better and what's good. And I have never heard the alliance outpost poll idea, and I'm falling in love with it the more we talk about it, because I'm gonna explain one of the reasons why. Okay, is one of the problems in this game. I'm a PvPer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I love to do. But the best thing in this game is the social interactions. Some of my best interactions, and that does not mean PvP necessarily. Some of my best interactions have not even been a PvP experience. It's the social interaction that is present in this game. Mm-hmm. Okay, I absolutely love it. So to go back to the flagpole thing, right? What I love is that how many times have you gone around? I love the idea that you can put up an alliance flag and pretend like you're going to join an alliance and betray someone. I don't do it personally. Mm-hmm. But I love the fact that you can't betray some, which is why I hate that they added purple names to alliances. I think it's one of the worst things they've added. But I love the idea. But there are so many people that will go, like new players, they get up, they throw that flag up and have no idea what that flag even means. Yeah. And they throw it up and they're flying around or sailing around, and it's flying up there. And they have no intentions of alliancing, or those people that have come up that are aggressive have no intentions of alliancing. What I like about the poll idea is that if I get on there and I see that there are 2 boats that are allianced, that usually tells me that, hey, they are, like you said, the temperament of the server. These are actual people that are alliancing. Yep. They're not just trying to bait you in. I think the baiting's cool, but they're not just trying to bait you in. They didn't just throw it up because they're new and have no idea what the flag is. You can go, hey, there's actually 2 boats alliance. Let me try to see if I can talk to them. Obviously, it's people that we can negotiate with or talk with, and maybe you can join or can't join. And I absolutely love the idea. Yeah, love it.
That's kind of the idea that I was and it's such a weird one-off idea that I was thinking about, just kind of talking through it with Kylie last night. And I guess it was 2 nights ago. I don't know. Time's a weird thing now. But it's one of those moments where I love the idea that you are taking something that is being organic in the world, and instead of just getting rid of it and saying that it's broken because there's alliance servers, or killing the reason for alliances, which is just to kind of have that social interaction, that you just tweak it just a little bit, kind of like we were talking with the portals. It's a good idea. It's benefiting, but it's not quite where it needs to be. And I think, after you bake cookies a certain number of time, you eventually hone in on the right set of ingredients that really make that perfect batch, the right cook time. It just needs a little testing, a little tweaking, something like that. But I've been keeping you guys for longer than I promised. I want to get you guys out of here. You're heading off to go stream right now, but folks won't know about that until Monday when they actually listen to this. So can you guys kind of get some plugs in here? Where can people find your content? Where can people go to watch you guys play?
So, our main jam is here on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Bearded Guys Gaming.
The name we hate, Bearded Guys Gaming.
Guys, a lot of times we get the Bearded Guy Gaming, but it is Bearded Guys Gaming on Twitch. And on there we have, all of our links to other social medias. We, the YouTube, the TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we got one. So.
We're old, but we're hip. We're not really hip.
Yeah, we're definitely old. I'm almost 40, so.
Ugh,
I'm right.
Yeah,
you guys.
When you say it,
feel like you guys are talking. I mean, I'm 39. 2022
me
is my 40th birthday. I'm already dreading it, and I don't know what to do about it. But I keep hearing. Did you guys?
We're becoming the old guys in the Sea of Thieves directory. I've been talking about this lately. We've been playing this game 3.5 years, and somewhere, look, something happened. A time warp or something.
We went through a portal somewhere.
Yeah, we went through a portal that definitely needs tweaking, and came out on the other side as the old guys in the directory now, and it feels weird, man.
It does.
Definitely, it feels weird, man.
I watched a video the other day where a bunch of Gen Z were looking at an Xbox and trying to figure out how to like hook it up and open it and get playing on game. And I was in the people that were commenting on it, watching the Gen Zers like how to figure it out, and we're like, oh my god, they don't know how to do this. And it's oh man, I remember growing it. That was so easy, and they're younger than I am.
Oh, it's so strange. We're in such a weird place. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine some of the kids nowadays trying to do like dial-up internet?
Oh my god.
Nowadays,
The patience.
They'd flip out. You
know what it would be?
Yeah.
There would be the way like God of War hides their loading times by you walking through like a tight tunnel. There would be like a fake internet that you can interact with while the system is dialing up, and they're clicking on things like it's like they're going through a TikTok or something, but it's all cache data. It's all fake until they actually get logged in, and then they would actually get to. That's what it would be like if they had to dial up internet from today's perspective. From their perspective.
Oh goodness.
Well,
and then you go and pick up the phone and you hear it in the background. Mom, hang up the phone.
Oh man. The number of times I got in trouble for being up late surfing through Nintendo's chat rooms as Blue Dragon Keeper. Oh, my dad was always livid about that, but
oh goodness.
I'm so grateful that you guys were able to come on the show. I've always been a big fan of your guys' content. I love seeing you too. Your dynamic is beautiful. You guys are gorgeous guys too. I'm just gonna say that. And Joe, I love your Cuban accent.
Listen, thank you, my Coconut Joe. I appreciate that.
And Matt, you're just you're just the best. I'm not gonna lie, Joe. I love you.
I appreciate that,
Matt. You're like the silent beauty.
Wait. Listen, Logan, everybody in chat tells me daily that Matt's the best. Okay, I'm fully aware of it. I've embraced the suck of this position.
That's what happens when you're the strong silent type.
Oh God,
that's what.
So, but hey, I want to tell you. You may not know this. Is that I've been a big fan of yours for a very long time, because when we first started playing Sea of Thieves, I didn't know about the game at all, like at all. One of our mods told us, and then we played it during the scale weekend, and I have not been able to put it down.
Yep,
and fell in love with it. And one of the first, this sounds weird, but one of the first like Sea of Thieves content creators that I saw in my eyes was the Keelhauled podcast. And I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. This is, he's a pirate, right? Like he knows about the game, and I always was a big fan. I never said anything, and I'm going to tell you, it's been a long time, and I'm like, Maddie's finally having us on the podcast. I was like, we finally are on the podcast. I was like, it is before we died, which is so, like super like awesome. But honestly, man, we extremely grateful that you gave us opportunity to talk on here today.
You're making me blush. That's not allowed.
Well, I'm just trying to butter you up so we can get on here again. I got a lot to talk about, brother. I
would love to have you guys back on. Honestly, I don't know. I genuinely have enjoyed your guys' content for so much time at this point. And I'm looking forward to the next opportunity. Let's not make it like a year between interviews, because that's generally the issue that I have with Falcor is we always want to get together, but the timing is always just like, oh, when is a good time? Never. Well, how are we going to do this? I don't know. We'll work it out. So a year later, I want to make sure that I have you guys on before another year. So if we can carve out like another weekend in like season 5, I would love to get your guys' thoughts on some of the stuff that I've been seeing, because I know someone just recently got their flintlock from Insiders.
Dude, I'm so jealous. That's all I'm using this week, by the way. And I'm actually getting the flintlock. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm upset every time I get something new. I'm upset that I was lazy and didn't do them all the weeks. I would be so much further.
I am so far behind.
And I kick myself when I'm like, why didn't I just get on and do my stuff?
I always, so it's funny because I'll do like a week, like a week of Insider, and I'll get like the gold and the balloons. I'm like, God, when am I getting another freaking piece of loot? And I'll go and look up like my profile, because you can see like, I'm like, God dang it, I still got to do like 2 more weeks before I get a piece of loot. And then I forget about it. And I go like, a month and a half, 2 months before I do another hour on there. And I'm like, I'm never going to get any of this stuff done.
Don't worry, I'll be a flintlock main this week. So
I love the flintlock. I think it personally is.
I love it. I just hate the hit reg on it, but it is honestly Matt's used it.
I've used it forever.
Time.
Yeah,
and my favorite. I love it. I love it.
It's just so pirate.
But I get so angry when you can't shoot it in the water. It's like a true flintlock with black powder. It just does not work. It does not register.
It's true.
I've shot many people in the water and they seem to keep just swimming away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop using blanks.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. All right. Well, I've been keeping you too long. I love you guys both. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I will have all of the links to your guys' content in the show notes. If you're listening, if you guys have any ideas or anything that you want to come to me with, if you want to chat about something, let me know, because I try to keep at least 2 to 3 of the weeks for each month like open for guests, because I don't mind doing I love doing the solo shows, but I love when I have guests who want to jump on and stuff. So if you guys have like a topic that you want to jump into, let me know, because I will totally back and forth with you about it.
Sounds great, man.
Awesome. Well, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much. All right, pirates, that's it for this episode. Thank you to my guests, Joe and Matt from Bearded Guys Gaming. They are really awesome dudes, and I hope you take a time to head over to the show notes, check out the links for their content, go watch their streams, especially if you're going to be jumping on for the Twitch drops that's happening this week. Make sure that you go visit them. Make sure you visit some of the other Sea of Thieves partnered streamers. Say hi for me. Tell them that you're happy that they're doing drops and that they're putting that time invested for it. Other than that, pirates, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Hey Simone,
Yes, Chad.
what would you say is your favorite bad movie?
Oh, where would I start? But probably at zombie strippers.
Oh yeah, which we've actually done on our podcast, Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. This is a podcast where we take some of the worst movies ever created, and even some of those movies that you might have thought were brilliant, but still got a bad critic score, and we say nice things about them, because you know what? Someone put the effort in, so we're gonna be there fighting in their corner.
Absolutely, Chad. Even if the movie was total garbage, there are some makeup artists that gave it their all, and we're here to recognize that.
Exactly. And with really fun themes every week, such as National Treasure Week, Weddings Week, movies with Jeremy Irons and dragons in them. How could you go wrong by joining us every Tuesday and Thursday for some optimism in your life?
And like we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye!
Bye.
My name is Brian Burton. It's been 26 years since the bombs fell. And since I've left the vault, I've been trying to rebuild. This isn't the Appalachia that I remember. There's so much more to everything going on. And I promise to find the answer. So if you're out there, if you're listening, just hone in on these coordinates. Remember, there's a place for you at the end. Omega.
The Omega Broadcast Fallout Story is available on iTunes, Spotify, and many great podcasting sources.